Hello, my name's Loretta, and I'm 77 years old. That's right, 77, and I'm a fan of the booth. Sinister One, Keith Hayes. That's right, my favorite. He's like a adorable Sammy Davis Jr., but for the new age kids. And everybody that loves sports, because I love all that New England sports. The Boston Celtics, the New England Patriots. I don't even give a damn about the Jets or the Giants.
Actually enjoy treating your customers like a piece of shit, because that's how I felt when I went to the Alamo Draft House. Okay? You know what? I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to text in your little crappy ass theater. It was too fucking dark in that place for me to find my seat, alright? I was using my phone as a flashlight to get to my fucking seat. So excuse me for using my phone in USA, United States of America, where you are free to text in a theater. I was not aware that I couldn't text in your theater, all right? I've texted in all the other theaters in Austin, and no one ever gave a fuck about what I was doing with my fucking phone, all right? And it was on silent. It wasn't on loud. It wasn't bothering anybody. You guys obviously were being assholes to me. And I'm sure that's what you do, you know, to rip people off. You take my money, and then you throw me out. You know, I will never be coming back to your Alamo Draft House or whatever. I'd rather go to a regular theater where people are actually polite. And, you know, I'm going to tell everyone about how you are. And I'm pretty sure you guys are being on purpose. So thanks for making me feel like a customer. Thanks for taking my money.
Dead ass. Serious. I would hate me too. Look at me. Think he the shit. This nigga don't even crease his Air Forces. What the f***? Shut the fuck up. You lying.
If we're honest, who wants to roll less travel? It's harder to teach us. Who wants the difficult route?
If you support safety in our schools, you will support the National Guard to come in here and keep our students safe.
People say, these students have changed. These students are lazy.
Your children aren't learning disability, they lazy.
Get students engaged so they don't want to skip class, so they want to be in their classrooms.
There are teachers in this profession who should not be teachers. There are teachers in this profession who don't care about children.
These students don't want to learn. No, the adults have changed. See, the parents don't have the back of the teachers.
He ain't slow. He ain't got no learning problem. His parents didn't give him a foundation.
Young people, as a nation, we sorely need the depth and breadth of your intelligence, character, and also your clarity.
I think about, in particular, the history of people that look like me who are getting cheated.
So if you're asking me right now as an educator, what's wrong with these kids? There's nothing wrong with them.
Teachers are the most important people in the world.
They're whimpering in fear, and we're sitting here scared of them.
Because if they get it right, they'll change the world, because they're in charge of the most important resource, and that's our children.
You see that cop out? You see that cop out?
Van Buren Records.
Van Buren's a brotherhood. Started in high school and grew up to be something special. Not too many's gotten this type of opportunity. Haiti's where we're from. Geno's is where we come together. Where we break bread. Parents here to change a lot of the narrative. Trying to change the culture. Show the world what Brockton's really made of.
Too much, probably be doing too much, yeah. Probably be doing too much, probably be doing too much, yeah. Probably be doing too much, probably be doing too much, yeah. Probably be doing too much, probably be doing too much, yeah.
Brockton, New Balance, Snipes.
Oscar Mike Radio is a proud podcast partner of Reach Across Radio, heard every Thursday at 11 a.m. and Sunday at 8 a.m. Eastern. They're also big supporters of the nonprofit I Got Your Six, 2 Lives at Once. And with every wreath you sponsor through Oscar Mike Radio, $5 goes back to this great organization dedicated to making a difference in the lives of veterans, law enforcement, firefighters, and first responders battling PTSD. 2 Lives at Once pairs these brave men and women together with dogs rescued from kill shelters. In this way, 2 lives are saved at the same time by saving each other. Donate now. Go to reachacrossamerica.org/Oscar Mike Radio to help. That's reachacrossamerica.org/Oscar Mike Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Americans, American patriots, I'm sure I do not come before you tonight as a complete stranger. You all have heard of me through the Jewish-controlled press as a creature with horns, a cloven hoof, and a long tail. We, with American ideals, demand that our government shall be returned to the American people who founded it.
We are Puerto Ricans, and we are Americans. But Donald Trump doesn't see us that way. We remember what he did to us after Hurricane Maria. We were dying by the thousands while he threw paper towels at us like we were a joke. Because he thinks we are garbage.
I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah, I think it's called Puerto Rico.
We are not your punchline. We know who we are. We are proud Americans, proud Puerto Ricans. And we see who you are. You are racist. You are a liar. You are the one that is garbage. And we know where real garbage belongs. In the trash.
You know your brother voted for Trump. Twice, I think. You know that, right?
Yeah, I knew that. But really, what does it even matter now? Trump didn't break anything that we couldn't still fix, so... It's the hate, though. Dad, honest to God, it's the hate that's gonna kill us. People who don't even know each other hate each other, despise each other. And I don't think that a man who drives that kind of anger, I don't think that he deserves to be president.
I agree. And that's what we gotta fix. I mean, that's what we gotta, get past.
On Tuesday, November 5th, vote for Harris Walz. It's too important to stay at home.
This is Deanna Marie, and you're watching The Booth, a Sinister One production on Hoobazoo.com.
It's caught in the crossfire.
After Freddy's defeat in a thrilling showdown in A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's revenge at the hands of the courageous Lisa, the children of Elm Street believed they could once again slumber in peace. But alas, their relief was short-lived. A year later, young Kristen finds herself tormented by nightmares of a sinister specter haunting her dreams. Admitted to a psychiatric hospital, Kristen meets other teens plagued by similar night terrors. With a remarkable gift, Kristen possesses the ability to draw others into her dreams. Together, they form a brave alliance to vanquish Freddy once and for all. In the realm of dreams, they uncover astonishing abilities. Taryn, grappling with addiction, transforms into a rebellious rocker, wielding knives with grace and fury. Kincaid, a resilient youth from the streets, gains Herculean strength beyond mortal measure. Will, confined to a wheelchair, harnesses the powers of sorcery, becoming a formidable wizard. And Joey, silenced by his trauma, unleashes a thunderous scream capable of shattering barriers. Can these courageous souls defeat Freddy, or will the Dream Master emerge victorious? A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. Slumber if you dare.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Yeah.
Can you dig it?
Like some motherfucking action heroes in it. Yeah.
This is blasphemy. This is madness. This is a boo.
Step into the twisted mind of my literature, designed to get into the depths of your mind, administer sickness around to mimic the likes of snuff cinema. What you must get into, you're nothing but pups. Remember you Homer and Happy Simpson, son. Nothing Ithaca. Talkers like the northern half of Korea's peninsula. ESP your island like the booth, something sinister. ESP your island like the booth, something sinister. ESP your island like the booth, something sinister.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. There we go. And it's your boy Sinister One broadcasting live from the City of Champions. You are watching The Booth. I want to thank everybody for tuning in the show last week, my big supporters from last week. And last week I had Crystal Tyson as a special host with me last week. She's very outspoken. A lot of people see her picture, and then when she talks, it's like, whoa, she knows what the hell she's talking about. And I got to thank Tamisha Civil, who's on the show. She's actually, in this upcoming election, she's running for the Democratic Governor's Council. Please make sure to secure your vote for her. She was on here talking last week about the judges and, you know, things and why we need people like her in this position. So Tamisha Civil, she came on last week and she actually had her fundraiser this past Saturday, so I hope it went well. Everybody in the chat, Julie St. Ange, thank you for tuning in. Billy Atwood, thank you for tuning in. My first guest is in the upper left-hand corner. Let me get into my sponsors real quick before I let her introduce herself. Michael Douglas Barreto, MDB Electronics. If you have a controller that needs to be fixed, Call of Duty just came out. Get it in, 24, 48 hours, you're back to gaming. Also, Viana Marie, that's my artist, 494,000 streams. Get that music up and get those numbers up. It's Personal is the album. That's her last release. It's out there right now. She's working on a new project that's going to be coming soon. She's going to be doing some stuff with Music Man. Also, Tactical Target Systems. Those are those giant zombie targets that you see me at the range with. TacticalTargetSystems.com is where you get those. ILoveBostonSports.com. Celtics are now playing. Season has begun. Patriots are underway. Bruins are underway. Those are the shirts that you see. ILoveBostonSports.com. Also, ladies, Kimberly Ann Empowerment Photography. If you think you're somebody who would never ever take any type of boudoir bedroom type photos, Kimberly Ann will take you, bring you in, make you feel comfortable as hell, put you in a surrounding that's comfortable as hell, and guess what, ladies? You'll be able to take those pictures that you never thought that you'd be able to take for some special person. Or look, some ladies may just want to take those pictures for themselves and feel empowered. It may be a woman who's depressed, feeling down about herself, self-esteem, and she may go and take these pictures just for herself. If that can help you too, go on, reach out to Kimberly Ann Empowerment Photography. Also, Underwatch Protective Services, Mobile Patrol, Foot Patrol, Armed Guards, Unarmed Guards, Event Security, Private Security. Reach out to Daryl Smith. And then once again, we had those 2 back-to-back hurricanes down south that came up the coast. Helene and Milton. Please make sure to donate to AmericanRedCross.org. And my first guest is up in the upper left-hand corner. She is a friend of Travis Partington. I actually finally got to meet her at an event, the IGY6 event that took place at the beginning of this month with Travis. And she actually come right up and introduced herself to me. But she's on here tonight to talk about this program and what she does. Barbara, I'm going to let you introduce yourself and what we got going on here tonight.
Thanks, Keith. Hi. So my name is Barbara Schwartz. I own Monkey Ranch Wellness, which is a holistic wellness little business. I'm a certified yoga teacher, certified meditation instructor, Reiki practitioner, but I'm also a scientist. I've been in healthcare for over 30 years. So I don't think one can really exist without the other. So right now, one of the cool things that I'm able to do is I have a certification to teach yoga and meditation to veterans, first responders, and their families. And with Warrior Within Yoga Project, I have a series of yoga classes in Abington that are free to first responders, veterans, active military, and their families.
Wow. And what made you want to get into, because everybody comes up with all different things they want to get into to help first responders. What made you say, you know what, let's bring yoga into this, helping our first responders and our veterans with, PTSD or whatever?
Yeah, sure. It was sort of a natural progression for me when I started practicing yoga, and over 20 years ago. I realized it was one of the few things that actually shut my brain off. Meditation does not shut my brain off, but it changes the way I respond to things. So when I became certified to teach, it just seemed like all roads, it wasn't a conscious choice I made. All roads sort of I always say all roads wind up leading to Travis Barnington. I mean, it's just everywhere I go. So people are like, oh, you know Travis? Oh, you know Travis? I have family members who are first responders. My best friend is a firefighter. I have friends and family who are veterans. So it just sort of, it was where the universe sort of took me. I know it sounds kind of weird, but it wasn't a conscious thing. It's just where the road led me. Because it was a group that we're starting to see there are more and more programs bringing yoga and meditation to this demographic. And there were more and more studies coming out. And for me, the important thing was other studies, like, don't do this because I say it works, but do this because we have studies from Mass General Brigham and Harvard that show the changes in parts of the brain when people with PTSD are doing yoga and meditating. It shows the changes in the brain when we put people through a meditation program and how they respond to stress. So that's where I sort of combine the science with the holistic. We have the science to prove that it works.
And, you know, there's a lot of people in the chat. Margaret, thank you for joining the show. Kevin O'Callahan, thank you for joining the show. Again, I have Barbara Schwartz on with me. This is the Monkey Wrench Wellness Yoga Program. She has this Warriors Yoga Program. And you know, a lot of soldiers and first responders. And it's funny because, you know, we many years ago in this show, we learned about the 22 vets a day. We learned about PTSD with vets. And I remember we were on this our show, the booth, early on years ago, and we were talking about vets, we were talking about PTSD, and we used to open up the phone lines to the callers, and one of the callers that called in was a Brockton firefighter, and he let us know and educated us that it's not only veterans who suffer from PTSD, and he broke it down for us, and we were like in shock because it was the first time that I ever heard that firefighters and stuff go through PTSD. And then he broke it all down and talked about the firefighters from 9/11 and how firefighters go on certain calls and how certain calls they suffer PTSD. And that's when I realized, oh my God, you know, it's not just veterans who have PTSD. Now we have these first responders. And there's so many different treatments. Some people choose the path of cannabis. Some people choose the path of this SBG, which is something that Doug Macedo talks about on his show. For me, I feel like for PTSD, it's what fits you and what you feel comfortable with for the treatment to work. So bringing in that yoga, what is your turnaround rate for some of the vets and first responders that you're seeing? You know, is it very positive responses that you're getting?
Yes, it is. It's in the beginning, they're really resistant to it. You know, because they're super tough, and they are super tough. And what they picture and what the general community pictures as yoga and the reality of yoga are two completely different things. I mean, we're not standing on our heads in these classes. We're linking movement to breath and able to modify everything so that if somebody can't get on the floor, they can practice yoga in a chair. And we can do that in the same class with a whole bunch of people. So they're practicing at their own levels. And usually what I tend to see is that after a class or two, they start to say, I feel different when I walk out of class than when I walked in. I'm calmer when I walk out. I'm less anxious when I walk out than when I walked in. We're seeing some now, especially first responders, and probably not veterans so much, because veterans have a whole different setup as far as care. But a lot of the first responders are mandated to participate in certain wellness programs.
Right.
They've been told, look, you're not okay. You need to go do this. And a lot of these programs now are including yoga and meditation. The VA now provides yoga and meditation classes. So people come to it sort of resistant, and every VA is different. But I was certified to teach to this group of people through an organization called Warrior at Ease. And these are all military instructors. And it's sometimes they'll just see someone else doing it, or someone will say, hey, I'm going to this, come with me. I find that this demographic doesn't always walk into a yoga or a meditation class willingly, again, because of preconceived stuff that you see on TV, that you see. I mean, nobody looks like the person on the cover of Yoga Journal, right? Nobody looks like that. Nobody bends like that. But that's the preconceived notion. But once they get in the door, they notice that, oh, I feel better at the end of this hour and 15 minutes than I did at the beginning. So then they come back.
Wow. And it's so for veterans, I know it's got to be tough because our veterans are programmed and trained a certain way to do everything for themselves and only rely on that person in their unit and not rely on people outside of that unit. And then they get released into the public. And even though they all still have that same mentality, and I've heard Travis, I've heard Doug talk about this, it's tough being re-entering back into society where you've been trained for years. And if you've done all these years and then you come out, it's hard for you to trust. It's hard for you to ask for help or even admit that you need help. One of the reasons why Travis's show has excelled is because I was watching an episode with Travis and another gentleman, and Travis opened up and admitted that there are things that he doesn't like to allow people to do because of this. And I reached out to him and said, hey, there's some things with your show that I think could be better if I did this. And it took a lot of trust, but we're at where we're at now with his show because I watched that one episode. For you, your yoga is what is your environment? Because I know there's different environments that you see. Some people, they do yoga class outside in nature, so you get the sounds of nature to help get that yoga experience. I know some people have yoga where they have the temperature in the room at like 100 and something degrees where you sweat. And what is your yoga like?
So I do not teach hot yoga. No. And that's just my own personal preference. And the reason for it, number one, is I don't like to be, I love summertime, but I don't want to be working out in a room that's 100 degrees. I just don't. And when I learned to teach yoga years ago, my training was really anatomical, which fit into my science brain. And, when we talk about when we're doing yoga, we're stretching our tendons and our muscles. And think about heating an elastic, right? When you heat an elastic, it gets stretchier and stretchier. But they're not meant to necessarily be that stretchy. And that can happen in a hot yoga class. So it's easy to get injured in a hot yoga class if you don't know your own body. And I'm not bad-mouthing the hot yoga teachers out there, but if you don't have a really good instructor who teaches you how to listen to your body, it's really, really easy to get injured. And it's also, for me personally, it's just uncomfortable working out in a room that hot. So my environment, I will teach yoga anywhere. So right now, this session that I'm doing is at the Abington Public Library. I go into different yoga studios. So we have a fundraiser for Warrior Within Yoga Project on November 10th, the day before Veterans Day. I'm teaching a fundraiser at Emerald Yoga in Pembroke that it's a donation-based class and everything goes to Warrior Within Yoga Project so that we can keep funding these classes so that all of our first responders and veterans can go to yoga for free. So my environment is pretty chill. I want everyone to feel comfortable. I don't care if, you don't need special yoga clothes, just come in your jammies. I mean, seriously, you just come and be in clothes that you can move in. I don't care what they are, just be comfortable. If you don't have a yoga mat, that's fine. I always have extras in my car. If you can't sit on the floor, that's fine. I'm going to put a chair down for you and you're going to practice in a chair. I don't teach a super formal class, so I'm formal as far as making sure everyone's safe. You know, I don't want people to feel intimidated, so that if someone feels comfortable saying, "Hey, this is not good for my shoulder. What can I do?" Okay, well, you know, don't do this, and, you know, put your hand on your hip instead.
Right.
So that's the environment that I teach in. It's really chill. I try to make it very, very comfortable, very, very welcoming. When you're working with this group of people too, with the veterans, the first responders, I like to make sure that they're all facing the door, because they don't like their backs to the door. And I understand that.
Yep.
Certain things we do with our eyes closed, but I always make sure to say, if you're comfortable closing your eyes, you know, and remember, when you're closing your eyes, my eyes are open, so I've got the room. I am not going to close my eyes when your eyes are closed. And if you want to keep them open, that's fine. You know, we do sometimes some hands-on adjustments. When we're teaching yoga, we'll walk up and put a hand on someone's shoulder and say, move your shoulder back this way. Well, you don't walk up to a veteran or a first responder and just touch them, you know.
Right.
You know, I explain it at the beginning of the class, and then I'll say, do you mind if I touch your shoulder? But I always make sure they know, if you say, don't touch me, I'm not offended. It's fine. So that's the stuff that I talk about in the beginning of the class, because I want people to feel comfortable, because I want them to come back, because I know it works.
Nice. Great stuff. Felicia, I see you in the chat. Hey, if you guys have any questions for Barbara, please drop them here. Again, this is Barbara Schwartz. You can find her on Facebook. Look for Barbara Gale or Monkey Wrench Wellness, correct?
Monkey Wrench Wellness. Yep.
Monkey Wrench Wellness.
So there's a Foo Fighters. There's a Foo Fighters song, Monkey Wrench.
Gotcha.
And that's just one of my favorite songs that I like, you know, headbang to. So it's Monkey Wrench Wellness, and the logo, you know, you're in the right place if you see the monkey holding a wrench, and the monkey's sitting in a seated meditation, and the tail is up behind it. It's holding a monkey wrench in its tail. So it's Monkey Wrench Wellness on Facebook, on Instagram, and Monkey Wrench Wellness at yahoo.com.
And I believe the links are actually on the Booth Facebook page, Sinners One Productions page. And if you guys saw the banner that was created for this show, the Monkey Wrench Wellness logo is on there. Felicia says she loves it. Again, this is going to be at the Abington Library is where this event's going to take place. And if you guys know any warriors out there, first responders or military guys who might need something like this event, it's free of charge, correct, for this one?
It is free. Yep.
And please
it's sponsored
spread the
by
word. Let them know.
We got sponsored by Abington Bank, the Abington Savings Bank. So so there's never a charge for, like I said, the veterans, the first responders, active military, and their families. Always free for them.
Great stuff. I'm gonna. So, guys, this is one of these people. You know, you guys will watch the show all year long, and thank you to those who watch the show for the entire year. But as you guys know, I have my regulars and people who I tend to bring them back on because they have such great things going on that I feel that we need to stay in touch with people like this. And I believe Barbara is going to become one of those people where I have them. I have somebody in the chat was wondering, is there a link or a place that they can make donations to help your program?
So yeah, for the Warrior at Ease, the Warrior Within Yoga Project. They can go to, I don't know if it's .com or .net, but if you just Google Warrior Within Yoga Project, you'll come up to there. I don't take donations for what I do. But the Warrior Within Yoga Project takes donations to help provide these classes. And the classes are all through from mostly in central Massachusetts. And now they're trying to bring the classes east. So we had a series in Bridgewater, and now we're doing Abington, and hopefully we can just keep doing it. So if they go to Warrior Within Yoga Project, they can make donations. Thank you very much for asking that.
And before people blast me for looking down and not paying attention, I'm on my phone, and I just looked up warriorwithinyoga.org. New classes begin this fall. And because I keep the chat open so I can monitor the chat, I'm dropping this in the chat right now as we speak because this is very important.
Thank you.
And I just dropped it. It's there in the chat right now. www Warrior Within Yoga, so you guys can click that. Felicia, there it is right there. You can make a donation there. When people ask about making the donation, that means they want to make it. I want to get that in the chat right away, and we can do that. Music Man, hey, what's going on? David John Kendrick is in the chat. Music Man is in the chat. Thank you for showing up. David John Kendrick, he's got some shows coming up. We've been talking about that during the, before the week. Felicia says thank you for that information, Bob.
Thank you. And it's a nonprofit organization, so no one's making money off of it. It's going to help people.
The question I'm asking now is yoga and meditation and stuff covered under health insurance if it's at the VA, or is that an out-of-pocket expense still?
Some health insurances will cover yoga and meditation. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's good to know. That's good to know. There's so many different alternative health things out there that a lot of people may not know that is covered by their insurance. So people, if you're out here and you're thinking about taking a yoga lesson or yoga event in, talk to your health insurance and look it up and see if it's covered. If you're a first responder or a veteran, please make sure to reach out to Barbara. And you said you try to do, before we let you go, you said you try to get some of these in at the VAs also. Should
The VAs are doing a lot of the VAs are teaching yoga. I mean, I will go and teach yoga anywhere to any groups. I will teach with Warrior Within Yoga Project. I teach for them, but through Monkey Wrench Wellness, I will go in and teach yoga everywhere, and that's not always donation based because that's my business. But I always first responders, because I teach to everybody. First responders, healthcare workers, because I'm one of them. First responders, healthcare workers, veterans, and active military. If I don't donate the time, it's hugely discounted.
I'll tell you right now who needs it. Some of us people who work in transportation, some of our drivers who deal with passengers on a daily basis, some of our train operators who deal with the public on a daily basis. I'll tell you right now, yoga could be a great thing for some of our operators.
Let's set it up. Let's set it up.
Let me get with my boss and let me get with you on that one, because I'll tell you right now, any way that you can bring down employee stress,
it's huge. When I am sitting in traffic, there are different breathing techniques. And there are certain ones that I will do while I'm sitting in traffic because it keeps me from, being a Boston driver with fingers waving and words coming out of my mouth. I breathe. I do these breathing techniques. So
yeah, I think every child in Massachusetts learned dirty words through their parents because they were Boston drivers. Because I know, I think the first time I heard my dad swear and stuff was driving in Boston. So 93, the old Central Artery, before they put it all underground.
For sure.
So great stuff. Again, please let them know where they can follow you, Barbara, and thank you for coming on
Facebook. And on Instagram, Monkey Wrench Wellness, either one. You'll see me post, especially when there are things coming up, or I just I'll post a little meditation or do whatever. So Monkey Wrench Wellness on Facebook, on Instagram, and monkeywrenchwellness@yahoo.com for email. But you can message me on Facebook and Instagram too, and I'll always answer, even if it's just a question and you don't want to take a class, but you just have a question about yoga or meditation. Just send me the question. I'm happy to answer questions.
Nice. I see a lot of, I believe John Howard, he's an MMA fighter. And I believe John Howard, for the longest time, was also talking about, having yoga and meditation in his arsenal as an MMA fighter. He swore by it, So if you're an MMA guy and you're watching this show and you're looking for something, I can tell you, I know that he had spoke on it, and it was able to get him, and because guys get anxious when guys are headed to the cage, and they get that yoga can help you calm down and get relaxed to get into that cage, or when you're in a tough situation in a fight, that you can figure out techniques. So That's great stuff. Great stuff. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much. Just for the MMA guys, I just want the athletes physically. Yoga is really good because the stretching helps prevent injuries, but also it helps with the focus, like you just described. So thank you so much for having me.
Got you. I might actually have to have you come on Maddie's show, Maddie Sees Sports, to talk about the sports aspect of yoga on his show. Because that's that's a whole different conversation.
It is.
It's a whole different conversation and why and what you need to do, the pliability and all that stuff. So
I used to teach yoga to hockey players.
See? Oh man, good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. All right. Well, I want to thank you for coming on the show. Let's take a quick break. We're going to be back with more Booth after this. Hold tight, guys.
Thank you.
Street boy, grab my toys. Machete on my axe, I'm Crystal Lake employed. Taking out a counselor at the camp for the noise. When they see me coming, it's too late, destroy. All for mama, best of dead. Watching from the shed when she lost her head. I keep it on the mantle right next to my bed. Became too much to handle, light a candle white red. Blood spill out, arrow through the mouth. Don't care what Mike or Fred talk about. Leather and ghost face, check me out. I took Manhattan, then I swam down south. Who's scaring who? I'm the one they dream about. Scared to get in the water, don't know if I'm coming out. Did out of space, dipped in chrome. Killing by the start, but there's no place like home. Always come back, you can burn me, shoot me. Draw me 10 times, I return next movie. Same dirty suit, same muddy boots. I'm behind you, running for your life. Found out the story's true. Killed dude in the wheelchair, then rode him off the stoop. Look at this kisser, right before I stick you. Chop up friends, brothers and sisters. Came back to the camp, oh how I miss you. Leave you in the ditch, that's how I dish you.
Go ahead, say my name. Don't believe the hype, it's a real fun game. Not like I'ma show up in your house, no way. Thinking like that, that's a bit insane. 4 more times now, say it with strength. Oh, now you feel death in this warm embrace. Let the beast flow, let them swarm your face. You could be my victim and you're erased. Do you believe me? I'll give you the hook if you leave me. I'll murder your people if need be. I only have one thing I need, see? And that is your heart and your soul and unwavering faith. And now you can say that you made a mistake. You're coming with me. Our day is the day. This is the beginning of Candyman Reign.
It's your boy, Pennywise. Oh, why don't you come over here and take this balloon? I got a whiff of your fear, feel the scare. When I fight you, I'm finna appear from nowhere. Fight you can try, but you'll merely get near. Then pop up my teeth for a wound so severe. I'm Pennywise, there's been many tries. Inquiry in the find, all the kids have died. Question alibis, still identified. But no one for to look in the sewer, huh? No one for to question the clown in the playground. Talking to the kids, offering trips underground. Cotton candy and popcorn, you want some? Sure. I know you're listening thinking, does he know my fear? Well, guess what, yeah, I'm doing this weird, but I'll treat it like a kink, I won't judge you. Get your fair sweat, steak, bite hard and chew.
Hello, no one is available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone.
Hi, Sydney. Coming up on nighttime, Sydney. It's me on your line. Say bye-bye, Sydney. Your little boyfriend gave me side-eye, Sydney. Turn his white t-shirt into tie-dye, Sydney. Riding through your hood, see my knife shine, Sydney. Let her go space, say bye-bye, kidney. It's been a long night, cause I sliced right shitty. Brian Michaels, bro, high. Lost some nice guys, give me all the fame, cause my name makes your spine feel tingly. I was high in my suicide ride, but I really want a homicide. Try me and lose your life quickly. Paint white walls, red school halls like Da Vinci. Since we wanna spit bars, I'm a chimney. Give the whole room smoke. Yellow joke, gas penny. I'm a wise guy, eyes low. Under this sweaty ghost mask, ghost face, killer bars, hop deadly. Late night neighborhood creeping. Springwood's favorite dream gaming. Freddie K back with a killer rap bag behind me. You know we about to get grimy.
Shout out to the fans. I show love to all of my stands. I'm talking about an ill straight click. Got 100 million motherfuckers riding on the tip of my dick. I keep that claw on my hip. Pull up on the LAX jet. Dinner with the studio execs. Wanna know what's next. Another fucking film about Freddie getting new lines, sending my checks and mad respect. I guess all because I kill teens that love to have sex. If you really wanna snooze, I'll slice you up next. That's right, sleep tight, good night, and God bless, bitch.
Boy, grab my toys. Machete on my ass, I'm Crystal Lake employed. Taking out a counter at the camp for the noise. When they see me coming, they shoot Lake destroyed. All for mama, best of dead. Watching from the shed when she lost her head. I keep it on the mantle right next to my bed. We can't do much, I handle light a candle white red. Bless you out, arrow through the mouth. Don't care what Mike or Fred talk about. Leather and ghost, they check me out. I took Manhattan, then I swam down south.
All right, it's your boy Since Went back here, broadcasting live from the booth. I got to thank Barbara Schwartz for coming on the show. All you people already in the chat, hanging out. Kevin Jeffries is in the chat. My man Lito. Turnbuckles and Spilt Liquor, the brand new wrestling podcast hosted by Lito and co-hosted by yours truly, 9:30. Part of Triple Threat Tuesday. You guys saw Maddie C Sports at 6 o'clock before this show. And until football season is over, Maddie C's will be on at 6 o'clock before the booth until football season is over because, you know, Maddie's show is good. Maddie's show is up to par, but Maddie's show, you don't want to be going up against the NFL at 6 o'clock. You know, we talked about this in our production meetings. We have our little production get-togethers and chats. And, you know, right now the NFL has been crazy. We're going to get into it in the sports booth. Thank you again for Barbara for coming on. Monkey Wrench Wellness is the program that she offers, the business that she runs. So please check this out. Let's get into the news booth. In the news booth, I've got some big congratulations coming up. If you guys are watching this picture up here, that is Levi, the co-host of Drafting the Circuits, which you guys see on Wednesday night. Big shout out to Big Blackcat Provisions Gourmet Coffee. Lee is a veteran. Lee has started his own business. He is doing gourmet coffee from a truck. As you guys can see, I believe that truck is in the picture there. Blackcat Provisions Gourmet Coffee out of New Hampshire. Lee from Drafting the Circuits is setting this up. This is his business. This is his dream. And actually, I've locked up with Lee, and it looks like I'm going to have him as my first guest in January. We kick off with, you know, first Tuesdays this year, but then after that, my first guest of the year, I'm going to have Lee on to talk about this Blackcat Provisions out of New Hampshire, this gourmet coffee. And I'm going to have to test him on it because I'm a big coffee drinker. So I might have to go up there in the winter to try his coffee. Also, another big congrats, Frank Santoroski Jr., who is a host. He was the host of Drafting the Circuits. Frank, if you guys have been watching the show, Frank has been missing off the show for the last couple of weeks because Frank has been handling the task of opening and being the GM of the new Parlour restaurant in Louisville, Kentucky. It's a hot spot. If you're in the Slingshot community and you're going through Tennessee, Louisville, Kentucky, make sure to stop off at Parlour. Tell them Sinister One sent you. I might have to take a ride out there, but big ups and congrats to Frank Santoroski of Drafting the Circuits for holding open that opening that's coming there at Parlour. Also in the news booth, Southfield, Mass Holiday Inn is going to convert itself into a homeless shelter for veterans. These stories are out here, people. The reason why I'm sharing this is because there's a lot of people out here pushing a narrative that the immigrants are getting more money and the veterans aren't being taken care of, and that's not necessarily true. There are things being done to help veterans out. First of all, veterans have to get the help they need. There's some out there who refuse that help, and we got to get that help for them. We got to get them into programs. So this former Holiday Inn out in Southfield, Massachusetts is going to be renovated into a home for homeless veterans. So please keep an eye on that. We'll keep you updated. Also, Taunton Police Department wants to let everybody know the test trains have begun running on the South Coast Rail. This is the new commuter rail line, the extension that now runs through Taunton, and I believe it goes all the way to, I want to say Fall River or New Bedford, I believe is where it goes all the way to. But they're testing the train, so it's coming soon. The service will be starting soon. I can tell you right now, hopefully it relieves some of the Brockton commuter rail ridership. Let's see what happens. Might pull from Attleboro too, so let's see what happens there. Also in the news booth. Thank you, Felicia, for making the donation. Awesome. So I got my Halloween theme here, so I can't pull up my screen that I usually do for this, but I'm going to hell for these next three stories. In Wisconsin, pizza was accidentally laced with THC in a Wisconsin restaurant called Big Yeti Pizza, or Famous Yeti Pizza in Wisconsin. And what happened was they ran out of oil to make the pizza dough. So they're in a complex type building setting, and they sent, one of the employees said, you got to go grab some more oil from the back room for the dough. Well, this gentleman went in the back and he grabbed the wrong oil. He grabbed the oil for the edible spot, the dispensary spot, and brought that oil back, which was THC infused. And they put the oil in the dough. And as you guys know, THC oil is supposed to be used in small amounts. But, they used the oil as they would have used so it was like 20 times the level of THC that you normally would get. And I'm sorry, I'm going to hell for laughing at this story. So like 5 people got sick and ended up in the hospital, but they feel like 20 or 30 more ended up with this THC infused. Look. All I can think about right now is the dude who went there with his girl or his wife or whatever, and they went and they had like a pizza and went home, and he probably went home and did the Al Bundy on the couch. Like, yo, that pizza was good. There's some people who had the THC pizza and went home and was like, what? Hey, when we gonna get some more of that pizza? I'm going to hell. You gotta think about the funny side of some stories. Some stories, I know they're bad, and people are mad that people got sick because they made that mistake, but there's a funny side to every story, and that's somebody went home feeling nice. I'm just saying. Somebody ordered their pizza. Somebody got their pizza to maybe delivered to them from Yeti. And Billy Atwood said, Billy Atwood said they probably ordered a second. I know, Bill, trust me. There was probably somebody who did. They ordered a pizza, had it delivered, killed the pizza. They was like, yo, that pizza was good. Let me order another. Yeti was probably like, I'm making a third delivery to this dude's house. See, there's a funny side to every story, and I'm gonna stay going to hell. I'm gonna stay going to hell with these next 2 stories. Now, AI has come up with a caller, AI powered caller that lets your pet talk. So in other words, AI, whatever you put into AI is gonna respond. So AI really isn't at that point yet where it's gonna convert. You put all this stuff in, and then it's gonna let your pet talk. But let me ask you all. How many of y'all in the chat? Just drop it in the chat. How many of y'all? Andrea McLean, what's going on? Nice to see you. Dave Haggerty, what's going on? How many of y'all have pets? Drop it in the chat if you own pets. And for those who have pets, and if you had a caller that would allow you to understand what your dog was saying when your dog would bark or meow and stuff, and it would let you understand what they were saying. How many of y'all know? Because most pets are like their owners. So if you got a filthy mouth, I'm pretty sure your pet is gonna have a filthy ass mouth. If you got this AI cow, like a hungry pet is gonna really call you out. Like, Ninja, where's my food? You know, or like when you get mad busy. Like for me, I got one of those big 5-gallon water things. You know, where you put like 5 gallons of water in it, and then it just provides water for all the pets in the house. But sometimes you don't pay attention, in like in my house, and sometimes that gets dry to the point where the cat either knocks it over, or the dog, when the dog gives you that, grab the bowl, and when the bowl is empty and the dog grabs the bowl, now you're gonna have an AI collar that's gonna let you understand your cat or dog when they drag that empty bowl across the floor. Like, Ninja, please, you see my bowl is empty. Felicia says, I have a cat. My cat would swear in Spanish. You know what I'm saying? Pendejo. Margaret says, my cat would ask all day for food. You'd be like the seagulls in Finding Nemo. Cause I know my dog Joopy, when I let her out, she wants to come back in, and when she barks, it almost sounds like she's saying Keith when she barks. So I could hear her when I put her outside. Keith, Keith, Keith. Oh, that shit will be funny, bro. That's gonna be so funny. So if y'all got cats or dogs in the chat, and if you think you're gonna get an AI collar, let your pet talk. And yo, what if you had a cat or dog and you put this collar on and it told your business to everybody in the house? Cause people do stuff in front of their cats and dogs, and now cats and dogs can't talk, but now they got their AI powered collar. And now, your cat and dog is talking about you to other people when they come up in here or when people leave. And your dog, I don't know why you let that person come here. I don't know why that person come here. You know why I be sniffing them? You know why I be sniffing? Because they smell like ass every time they come here. Why you let that person come here? Oh, and Joopy, I can see Joopy when my boys come, because my boys come and Joopy goes out of her mind when the boys come. So I could only imagine what the caller would translate into when my boys are here. Oh my God, they're here, the boys are here, and then I'm still going to hell. I'm still going to hell, everybody, in this third story. And like I said, there's a funny story to every bad story. 46 people. 46 people were hospitalized in Maryland for food poisoning due to an employee's homemade meal. Now hear me out. I'm going to hell. Hear me out. You know how this is. This is one of them, 46. I didn't see where they was working. It could have been like an office or a nurse's office or something, And you know how it is with some of these spots in the workplace. Every week somebody makes something. It's your week. Oh hey, it's Jackie's week to make her buffalo chicken dip, or it's so and so's week to make the enchiladas, or it's so and so's week to make the You know how it is with some of these jobs when they go above and beyond, and everybody has their week. And sometimes I'm wondering on this story, like, did the person mean to get everybody like was this a person that was in, like, how sometimes they do stuff at work, and as an employee you really don't want to be involved with it, but because you got to put a good face on, you're involved with it. Could this have been one of those employees that could this have been one of the employees like, F this homemade meal day. I don't feel like cooking for all these people. I hate half the people I work with. No, it wasn't a laxative cake. Nope, this was a food poisoning cake. But What if it was an employee who just got tired? Maybe they didn't want to be in this employee meal day. You know what I'm saying? So they was like, man, F this. Yo, let me show them. Let me show them. I'm going to stink palm them. You know, remember the movie Mallrats? Y'all remember the movie Mallrats? What a stink palm is? Dude dug in his butt, and then he shook the dude's hand, and dude got mad sick. What if... Felicia said they should have ordered the pizza. And if this, and what if, and I feel bad because what if this person wasn't somebody who wasn't fed up? What if this was somebody, this was their first time and they were picked to, you know, cook the meal for meal day. Oh, Betty Sue, oh, it's your week. You gotta make, you know, you gotta make food for us this week. This is your week to cook. And what if she never cooked before? And then now Betty Sue got everybody sick. 46 people went to the hospital with food poisoning. Guess what? Betty Sue is out of the rotation. Nobody's gonna want Betty Sue cooking food on employee work day. I'm sorry I got everybody sick. I'll make it up to everybody. No, Betty, I'm good. I'm good. Oh, keep your stuff at home, Betty. Keep your stuff at home, Betty. I'm going to hell. I'm sorry. In the entertainment booth, rest in peace, Teri Garr, 79 years old. Teri Garr suffered from multiple sclerosis. She was 79 years old. Everybody remembers Teri Garr from Young Frankenstein, Tootsie, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And Teri Garr was one of those fellas, you know, Teri Garr was one of those like low-key, sexy chicks. You know what I'm saying? She wasn't like that bombshell blonde, like that, oh my God. You know, Teri Garr was like that sexiness, but wasn't, you know what I'm saying? That's what Teri Garr kind of was. She got cast she kind of got stereotyped into those roles. You know what I'm saying? She was attractive, but not that, you know what I'm saying? But she got a lot of roles. Again, she was in Tootsie, Young Frankenstein, Close Encounters. She's been with a lot of leading men in different movies. So she passed away 79. Rest in peace to Teri Garr. Also, big shout out to Frank Czarnowski, former co-host of the booth. Big shout out to Frank Czarnowski. Frank Czarnowski, who's been doing, you know, all these movies. He was in this Testing the series. Well, Frank Czarnowski is now nominated for an Angelwood Pictures Leading Actor Award for his role in Testing. So big shout out to Frank Czarnowski, Angelwood Pictures, Angelwood nominees. You can go on their YouTube page and check out the nominations and check out their reactions. And I'm going to try to get Frank on here to talk about, you know, last time he was on, he talked about being in this Testing. He really liked it. So again, shout out, big ups to Frank Czarnowski. Angelwood Pictures Angel Award nominee for Best Leading Actor. Hopefully he can come home with an award. Felicia says, loved her in Young Frankenstein. She was a low-key MILF. Yep, she was. She was a low-key MILF. Also in the entertainment booth, CNN host Ryan Gourmet, Republican, he was booted off of CNN. They were into this discussion over the Trump rally, and it got kind of heated, and he got into it with Mahende Hassan, and he made the comment, and I got a lot of topics to talk about, but I would have showed the video, but he made a comment during the show where he said, I hope your beeper doesn't go off. And you know, all the black people on the panel, he was like, you know, the black girl who oversees it from CNN, she was like, whoa. Oh, that's uncalled for. She stopped it. And then they took a commercial break. And when they came, and then, you know, he knew he messed up. But here's the thing with these, you know, these Republicans, these people who say bad stuff. Chris Gagne, what's going on? You know, they say stuff and then they try to, you know, reel it back. And we're going to talk about this, but that's what happened here. You know, he said what he said, and then he tried to bring it back and say he's sorry. And the black girl who's the host of the show, the black woman, she's like, you ain't sorry. You know who you are. This is a professional setting. You know who you are. You know you shouldn't have said that, and you said it. And she called him out. She called him out on it. She called bullshit on his apology, Because if you were really truly sorry, you should have never said it. You're on live TV, you're on CNN, and the last thing you should have said to this man was, "I hope your beeper doesn't go off." And this is what we're going to get into when we get into the Biden bombshells, because this is the type of mentality and the type of stuff, and that's why I said I can't wait till this election is over. I can't wait. In the entertainment booth also, Devil Born Again officially premieres on Disney Plus on March 4th. I told everybody on this show way back that when the shows ended on MCU and everybody was complaining and all this stuff, I said, they're not ending. They're not ending. MCU, Disney Plus, it needs those shows. Disney is going to bring those shows to Disney Plus, and that's why they're taking them back from Netflix. It had nothing to do. Those shows were all hit shows with the exception of Iron Fist. Every last one of them shows was over the top. It was crazy. They were crazy. So Daredevil Born Again premieres on March 4th in Disney Plus. And then this is no surprise. We talked about this on the show. Kristen Ritter. Oh my God. Kristen Ritter has agreed to return as Jessica Jones in Devil Born Again Season 2. We knew this. We knew this was coming. Daredevil was in Spider-Man. Daredevil was in She-Hulk. Kristen Ritter was in She-Hulk. We knew that this was all coming back. Everybody who were actors on the MCU Netflix shows, all of them, when they were asked about coming back to these shows, all of them were tongue-in-cheek and teased and never gave an exact answer. Even Mike Coulter, who was on Good Evil or something. I forget the name of the show he was on CBS. Mike Coulter was on there, and when they asked him too, he gave a beat around the bush kind of answer. And I'm like, these people are all signed to NDAs. They're coming back. Disney is bringing them all back. Felicia said, "Me too. My blood pressure is sky high from this election." It's crazy. It's craziness. So I'll be looking forward to seeing Kristen Ritter on the show. Also, this week, I know I talked about it last week. Don't get in the chat. Don't be getting in the chat and say, hey, since when you talked about it? I know I talked about this last week. And I'm going to talk about it this week because it happens on November 1st. Godzilla -1 is back in theaters. Regal and AMC back in theaters with 13 extra minutes of footage. And somebody said, are you going to see this movie for another time in the theaters for just 13 minutes? Yes, hell I am going to see that movie for extra 13 minutes of movie. I'm going. Me, Ron Drago, we're going. November 1st, South Bay. We will be at South Bay on November 1st. Don't ask or look or search for where we are. That's where we will be. Godzilla -1. And we're going to be sitting there waiting for our little 13 minutes of extra footage. If you're a Godzilla fan, look, I'm not going to force this movie on everybody, but if you're a Godzilla fan, if you say you're a Godzilla fan and you haven't seen Godzilla -1 yet, you ain't a Godzilla fan. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. Godzilla -1, bro, people, everybody out there, Godzilla -1 was so good that I actually shed a effing tear. That's how good it was. Godzilla -1 wasn't just destruction and a kaiju. This movie had a story. And not only did it have a story, it had a story that almost had it winning a Japanese equivalent of an Academy Award for Best Story, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Director, This Godzilla movie was above and beyond the expectations of what everybody thought. And Godzilla -1 was the first movie night in my backyard this year. Twice. Twice. The first night I watched it, my neighbor was in the backyard. He came out with a chair and he sat in his backyard the first night I watched it and was out in the backyard. That Godzilla -1, and people don't get this either. Toho Studios is genius because Godzilla -1 is the Japanese Godzilla from Japan. In Japan, the Japanese people, the Japanese culture, they don't like the Americanized hero Godzilla. You have two eras of Godzilla that was around. And the Godzilla hero that we see in the Legendary series with Godzilla Kong, we Americans, we love that Godzilla. That's the Godzilla we love. We love the little pop references, like in Godzilla vs. Kong, where, he blows his shoulder out and puts his shoulder back in on the building. That was a homage to Lethal Weapon. We love all that. Godzilla -1, he didn't care about humans. He wanted to destroy Japan. He wanted to kill everybody in Japan. And people in Japan, they love that style of Godzilla. So Toho is making money hand over fist. They've got the anti-hero Godzilla in Japan while they're making money off the Americanized hero Godzilla here in America through Legendary Pictures and Apple TV, because Apple TV also has the Monarch Legacy of Monsters show. So this Godzilla was old school Godzilla. It most certainly was. And there was some homages. When you go see Godzilla -1, there were a ton of homages. There's the throwback scene with the train that was taken from the Raymond Burr 1956 Godzilla, the original Godzilla. That scene with the train in the mouth, that was a throwback to that. There's some... The director of this film was a big fan of Jaws and disaster movies. So when you see Godzilla -1, there's a lot of references to Jaws, but it wasn't like they stole it. They made the Jaws references work for this film. There are stuff, when I see this movie, I was like, yo, that's Quint, that's so-and-so, and I was like, yo, this is Jaws right here, but they're doing it right. And there's a little shout out to Independence Day. And I don't want to ruin that, but there's a little hats off to Independence Day. So Godzilla -1, coming back November 1st, 13 minutes of footage. Your boy Sinister One. I'm going to be there. And in the sports booth, let's get into the sports booth. In the sports booth. I don't know why this is showing up out of order, but Patriots beat the Jets 25-22 this past weekend. The Patriots actually won and lost. Why? Because, as we were all saying, Drake May running all over the place. Jacoby Brissett, you sat him. Guess what happened this weekend if you didn't hear about it? Jacoby Brissett had to come back in because Drake May got concussion, got hit in the head, ended up with a concussion. I'm definitely sure he's not playing today this weekend if he's got a concussion. So it'll be Jacoby Brissett at the helm when they come back. Let's see here. Oh, there it is right there. Jets 25-2. They beat the Jets. They're now at 2-5. So actually, I don't know why that went out of order. That was probably my error. But 25-2, the Jets win. Also in NFL news, Week 8, the Chiefs are the only undefeated team left. The Chiefs are now, Jesus, they're 8-0. They're rolling along. They beat the Raiders 27-20. The Washington Commanders played the Bears, and this game went down to a Hail Mary, and the Commanders win 18-15. Yo, Jaden Daniels, Hail Mary pass, tipped up, one lone dude standing in the end zone, catches it, and Washington explodes. People going crazy. 18-15, and then in the news also, San Francisco, they beat the Dallas Cowboys 30-24, but the whole, you know what steals the victory right away is when knucklehead Nick Bosa comes up during somebody's moment, and I hate when guys do this. Guys are being interviewed on the field for their accomplishment, and then you have guys, when guys run up and interrupt somebody's moment, I get pissed at. I don't like that. I'm old school. I think that's disrespectful as hell. So Nick Bosa comes up during this guy's moment of being interviewed, and he has a white Make America Great Again hat and runs up and makes his thing and says, Trump 2024, make America great again, Nick Bosa. And then Nick Bosa gets in the press conference, and I would have had the video for this, but I got a lot of topics to talk about, so I didn't pull the video. Nick Bosa gets up in there, and they ask him, yo, what was that all about? You know, pretty much, what was that all about? What do you got to say? And then Nick Bosa, guess what, bro? Clams up. It was just something that needed to be said in the moment. And then he went, look, bro, if you're going to say it with your chest. Bro, say it with your chest. Don't come up and say it during somebody's spot. And then when you asked about it, you want to pull back and act like you really didn't say nothing because you know the backlash you just got coming into the room was killer. So Droopy trying to steal the show. See, if she had the AI caller on, I know what she'd be telling me right now. If Jupy had the AI caller, we can go back to that story. Oh, man. Also in the news booth, sports booth, Pritch, please. Pritch, please. Last night, the Celtics took down the Milwaukee Bucks 119 to 108. 119 to 108. Peyton Pritchard come off the bench. 3-pointers. 8 out of 9 3-pointers. Peyton Pritchard's the man. Remember when I was on this show? Remember when there was rumors that they were going to trade Peyton Pritchard away? And I was mad as hell when they was getting rid of everybody. I'm like, don't you get rid of Peyton Pritchard. Hell no. And they kept him, and Peyton Pritchard was a big part of the Celtics winning the championship last year. So Peyton Pritchard, thank you last night. And then Jordan, I always forget this kid's last name. It's not Jordan Marsh. Morse, I think it is. But he went off too. He came off the bench. He came in for Sam Hauser. He went off, and the Patriots, the Celtics won 119 to 108. And then tonight, World Series, Game 4. I don't know. Yankees brought out Fat Joe, and it didn't help. They got spanked again. Dodgers are on the verge of sweeping the Yankees tonight. The game actually just started. 8:02. 8:02. The game just started. The bullpen is just too strong. The batters are just too strong. Shohei is just too strong. This team is just too strong. If you think that the Yankees are going to win tonight and the Dodgers are going to bring... No. They're getting swept. Yankees getting swept tonight. Dodgers are not playing any games with the Yankees. They getting swept tonight. Also, you saw it on Drafting the Circus. We've been talking about this for a minute. We've been following Frankie Munitz's career. Malcolm in the Middle. He's been racing, all through the circuits of racing. And now, I don't want to burst the bubble because we're probably going to be talking about it on Thursday night on Drafting the Circus. But Frankie Muniz, Malcolm in the Middle star, he's becoming a full-time NASCAR driver in the Truck Series this year. Here's a funny story about Frankie. We actually were supposed to have Frankie coming on the show. I was in contact with his manager, which was his wife. And then all of a sudden, his wife ghosted my emails to her in regards to getting Frankie in the show. We were narrowing it down to which week he was going to come on, and then it ghosted her. And then it was like a few months later, we get the story. Frankie Muniz and his wife, his wife was abusive, and Frankie called the cops. He got tired of it and called the cops on his wife abused him, and that's a big deal. And I'd like to get Frankie on the show and talk about this, because this is one of the things that you hear about but you never really hear are men in abusive relationships with their wives. And Frankie called the cops. The 911 call's out there if you guys want to look it up. Google Frankie Muniz 911 call. He made the call. So kudos to him, I guess, because a lot of guys would swallow their pride and they probably wouldn't. So big ups to him. Let's get into the legal booth. And I'm pissed because a lot of people are talking about this story in the legal booth today. Everybody's on there talking about it today. Mainstream media. Everybody's talking about McDonald's and the McFlurry machines today. If you watch this show and you've been a fan of this show, you know back in 2022, May of 2022, the episode is when I brought this story out and talked about this story and talked about the lawsuit between Taylor and Kitsch. And, the running gag has always been about the McFlurry machines not working. And a lot of people were like, they're lazy and this. And we came on the show. I did my homework and I found out why the machines don't work. And we talked about it on this show, and it was a legal issue. The reason why the McFlurry machines weren't working is because Taylor was the company that had the contract, and Taylor had monopolized the contract to repair all of the McFlurry machines. So what happened was that McDonald's had several companies that could fix the machines. When there was a problem, they'd call this company. The company would come out, fix and clean the machines, because there was an outside company that had to clean and fix the machines. Well, Taylor went and bought up all of the companies without McDonald's knowing. McDonald's reached out to this company, Kitsch. Kitsch went and reverse engineered the thing you need and stuff that you need to, because there's a special tool and things like that to clean this McFlurry machine, so you don't have mold, you don't have all this crap. And Taylor took Kitsch to court. It was a $90 billion lawsuit, and Taylor was trying to hold on to this monopolization of the repairs of the McFlurry machines, and they were holding McDonald's hostage on the repairs. So guess what happened? They lost the lawsuit. Taylor lost the lawsuit as of this week. Kitsch is going to be the winner in this lawsuit, and it looks like that McDonald's will have the right to be able to have this work sourced and how to do this job sourced out to other companies. So by next year, McFlurry machines should be working and operational, because this company won't be holding them hostage for repairs. Which it's a very, for me, I'm a lawyer, I'm a law guy, you know, that's why I have the legal booth segment on the show, because there's stories like this that y'all probably could give two craps about. Me, from a legal aspect, I love it. I'm loving this. I'm loving this story. This story for me is entertaining. This story to me puts a smile on my face. It's like, these are the things that people don't know about, because you look at how many people out here were, you know, had jokes about the McFlurry, and little did they know that this was a huge legal issue worth $90 billion. This was a huge issue in business, and it's something legally and business-wise that we will talk about here for a long time. And I'm not sure if I put my legal booth banner up, but let me put my legal booth banner up there for you guys. Also in the legal booth, the Justice Department settles with the two Singapore companies that owned the boat that hit the bridge and caused the bridge collapse in Baltimore. They settled for $100 million. $100 million they've settled for. So hopefully that helps ease some of the taxes and funding that was used to get that cleared up and the bridge, you know, repaired. So $100 million they settled for. So let's see what happens there. Also in the legal booth, guess what, people? United States Airlines companies are now required to refund you automatically if your flight is canceled. So in other words, you go and you pay for a ticket. You pay for a plane ticket. And, you know, the flight gets canceled. And you say, okay, well, I paid, you know, whatever amount of money for my round trip or my one-way ticket. I need that money back so I can book another flight or whatever. And they tell you, well, no, you got to wait 7 days. Or, you know how it is. You got to wait this many days before we refund your money. And I hate to say this, but in this day and age of POS, point of sale, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, all these things where you can pay people instantly and they can pay you back instantly, there's no reason why in airlines, when you pay for a ticket, cannot refund you right away. There's no excuse for it. The only reason why they were doing this for the 7 days is because businesses and stuff collect interest at a daily rate. Not like we collect interest. Businesses collect interest at a daily rate. So that 7 days that they hold your money for before they give it back, that's 7 days of interest. So you think about it. If a flight's canceled and they've got to refund everybody on that flight, depending on how many passengers a plane holds, multiply that by how many days, and that's how much windfall they get on interest before giving that refund money back. So they've made money on that. So it's a very interesting thing here, because that money should come to you right away. When the flight's canceled, bam, that money should go right into your account. And watch, they'll find some service fee or something, but at least you're getting the money back the day of the cancellation. So I'm glad about that. Also, the last story before we head to the Biden bombshells is in the legal booth. It's a good segue. San Antonio poll worker punched a man after he was told to remove his political hat. And here's the thing that pisses me off, people. When you go to vote, this isn't a new rule, because a lot of people I saw in the chat and stuff, they were saying, oh, Democrats trying to keep people. No, dumbass. This has been a rule in the polling places forever. Forever. You are not supposed to wear any type of clothing or any type of signage or any type of thing that makes, when you go to a poll to vote, you are supposed to be nothing political. Nothing. You can't walk in like this gentleman did to vote with a MAGA hat on, because that's what he had on. He had a MAGA hat on, and he thought he was going to vote. And the poll worker said, hey, you can't come in here with that baseball cap on. You got to take that baseball cap off. And you know how these MAGA entitled nitwits think they are. They think they're above everybody. They think they're above the law. They think they're above everybody. I know how this went down. It's just a baseball cap. No, sir. You have to take your hat off. You can't have a hat like that. And I know how this went down. So he took the hat off. He voted. And when he got done voting, typical act of MAGA nitwit defiance, after he voted, he quickly grabbed the hat out of his thing and put his hat right back on his head before leaving So the poll worker confronted him and said, hey, you can't have your hat on in here while voting. It's illegal. And that's when this gentleman decided to punch this man in the face. He was arrested, and you know what? I hope they throw the book at him, because that's the mentality. That is the entitled mentality that we're seeing out there today. And it's at 8:12. Let me move along here. Let's get into the Biden bombshells. And that scary mentality travels right into this story right here. Fires have been set within drop boxes, destroying hundreds of ballots in Washington and 3 in Oregon. And I don't have to tell you all what party is setting ballot boxes on fire. I don't have to tell you. But I'm going to tell you this, they're already setting up for it. And I'm going to just break it down for you just like this, how they are setting this up. Last week, early voting started. And if you were on social media and you watched all the people talking about the early voting numbers, and you saw people posting, R plus 24, R plus 37, R plus this. Oh yeah, there's a red wave coming, and everybody's at the early voting polls. Yeah, you are. All the Republicans and all you MAGA people, you're all at the early voting polls. But guess what? They're already setting it up. Be wary, people, of what they're really trying to set up right here by pushing all this narrative right now about all the Republicans being, because here's the thing, when they lose to Harris, this is why they're scared. This is why they're setting votes on fire in the box. This is why because they know under COVID, the younger generation, some of the older generation, and the majority of Democrats, they voted by mail. Y'all, they know. They all know Trump was winning, and then they started counting those mail-in votes. And it was over. It was a wrap from there. So they know this, and they're setting us up for this already, people. Watch. They're already out here talking about how many people showed up to early voting, and if she wins, their argument is going to be, how did she win when we had all these people at the early voting lines? Common sense. Because majority of Democrats and the majority of most people who were comfortable voting during the COVID era, they mailed in. I voted weeks ago. I got my thing in the mail. I walked it down to City Hall. I dropped it in the box. Weeks ago. Why? Because I work at Logan Airport, and sometimes leaving work early and trying to make it to the school to vote in person is a pain in the butt for me. Even though your job is supposed to let you get out of work on time to vote, sometimes making that drive from Logan Airport to Brockton sucks. So when I have the option to do a mail-in ballot and take my dog for a walk down to City Hall and drop it in a secure drop box, I'm going to do it and make my vote count that way. So a lot of people have already done the mail-in votes, and they know this. Trust and believe me, they know this. So when they lose, this is what be prepared. This is what they're going to say. And this is why they're burning ballot boxes right now, because they know. But guess what? There's a law. any of those ballots that are damaged, they have to contact those people, have them come down and immediately fill out a replacement ballot. And here's the crazy thing. You may have Republicans who are now mad and understand who did this and may say, man, I'm changing my vote. Just like, let's get into it right now. The MAGA event that took place at MSG, which was similar to the 1939 rally with the Nazis. And I see a lot of people out here when I posted the similarities of this event because the Lincoln Project had put it out there. A lot of people like, yeah, you're wrong, Keith. This and that. It was nothing like. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. It was. The Lincoln Project nailed it. And then here's the funny thing: when everybody comes on my page, the skips and all of them, when they come on my page and they talk about this and that, hey, the Lincoln Project, you dumbasses. The Lincoln Project isn't Democrats, you dumbasses. The Lincoln Project is a group of Republicans made up of guys like Conway and other Republicans who served and worked under Trump and came to their senses of the type of person he was. The Lincoln Project has nothing to do with Democrats, you nitwits. Nothing to do with Democrats. The Lincoln Project has been a thorn in Trump's side for a long time. Boy, they know where to hit him. Why? Because they know the type of person he is. So they threw this event. And I'm torn because there are many people on Facebook right now who are saying it was just jokes. It was just this. It wasn't. No, it was a big deal. They pandered to a base. And they knew what base they were pandering to. When Tony Hinchcliffe got up there and said what he said about Puerto Rico and black people and all these people, Tony Hinchcliffe knew what he was saying. Those jokes were cleared by Trump's campaign advisor and his campaign people. If he didn't, because now they're throwing Tony Hinchcliffe under the bus. And if that was the case, then guess what? You should fire your campaign manager. But he isn't doing that. So they throw this event. Everybody speaks. Hulk Hogan's out there. Mike Lindell is selling pillows at 80% off. Why? Because Mike Lindell is going broke because he's going to pay Dominion for spreading the false election narrative. So he's out here selling pillows during this event. So they go on here, and I hate to say this, I watched this event, and this event, it felt like for me is, you know, when you have fake racist friends, fake friends, it felt like what they might talk about behind your back when you're not around. And, you know, I posted this, and that's how I felt, and somebody said, oh, it's so, no way. And sure enough, when this rally was over, New York Daily News, first story, top headline, right? Racist rally. And I saw Doug Macedo of his show. He came on and he's like, it was just a joke, you know, a bad joke. No, it wasn't a bad joke. There's a time and place for certain jokes, and that wasn't the place for that joke. It wasn't a joke when Donald Trump Jr. got up there and made the reference and said, there's a storm coming and the monkeys are going to miss out on the ark because they don't have umbrellas. And everybody laughed. And I sat there as a black man and said, oh, okay. I see you. Donald Trump Jr. I see you. I know what you're doing right there. And these are the things that, you know, a lot of your white friends and people, they're not going to get that. They're not going to know this because they've never been subjected to that. Like I said, I was one of the first kids bussed out of Boston to Brighton. So I heard it all. So I heard the little sly undertone things like that. So when Donald J. Trump made that monkey reference about the ark and the storm coming and the rain and not having umbrellas, I knew who he was talking to. And you all thought it was funny. It wasn't funny, bro. It wasn't funny. We got it. And they pandered to that base. So Daily News, they called it a racist rally. Esquire Magazine, they covered the event. Esquire Magazine covered the event, and they met with people outside, and their bottom line was, it was awful. It was awful. Is from Esquire Magazine. The blowback has been so bad that the Puerto Rican community reacted to the remarks made by Tony Hinchcliffe at this event about Puerto Rican's island being garbage. But what offended me more was him saying that Latinos make a ton of babies because they don't know how to pull out. And that was bad. And there was a New York representative she came out, and like I said, I for time purposes, I had to cut a lot of the videos. But if you look it up, there was a New York representative. She spoke. She was almost in tears. She spoke about the comments that Tony made, and she said it best. Being a politician, she said it best. She just said he lost Pennsylvania. She lost Pennsylvania, and then she spewed off how many Puerto Ricans live in Pennsylvania. And she went on to say, you lost Pennsylvania. And guess what? If President Trump loses Pennsylvania, the biggest battleground swing state out there, if he loses Pennsylvania, you know what moment's going to come up? And they're going to say what may have caused him to lose Pennsylvania? It's going to be this moment. It's going to be this moment. Felicia, who's in the chat, she just said, I'm in outrage of the racism, calling our island a floating piece of garbage. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. It doesn't even stop there. Felicia's here in the chat. Felicia is a family member of Vanessa Guillen. She was the military officer who was killed at Fort Hood. And the story has come out right now, allegedly, when President Trump was in office and was asked to pay for her funeral, the funeral cost was $60,000. And he was upset and had refused. The first day when he was asked, he refused to pay. And then he had said to a person, and this person is remaining to want to be anonymous, but this person says that he said, I'm not paying effing $60,000 for a Mexican funeral. Military. That person's from Brockton. That person, Brockton native. Elder Fernandez and Vanessa Guillen. So Felicia can talk on this one. She can talk on this one because those comments are going to family. Going to family. And if those comments end up being confirmed before this election, he's got problems. But the Puerto Rican community came out, they reacted, and Bad Bunny, one of the biggest Puerto Rican stars out there, who was, he had been quiet. Rumors were that he may back Trump because you had a lot of other Latino artists. But after what happened, Bad Bunny come out, and he's supporting Harris now. A lot of the politicians in Puerto Rico are pissed, and people forget. People forget after Hurricane Maria devastated them. People forget that Trump went down there and shot free throws with toilet paper. People forget about that. And this whole island of garbage discrepancy. Yeah, there's a thing about this. So there's an issue with the U.S. is helping. The U.S. EPA has been helping Puerto Rico with their landfill problem. They have a landfill problem in Puerto Rico. They do. That's a true thing that's going on there. They have a landfill problem in Puerto Rico. They need to have policies in place, and the EPA is helping them get this in place. I did also see someone talk about the fact that Puerto Rico is still not part of the U.S. as another state yet. If I'm not mistaken, when they had that last vote, it was by a very slim margin. The margin for them to become the 51st state was very, very slim. And you have to look that up. I forget exactly what it was, but it was a very slim margin. So the people in Puerto Rico, pissed off. And here's where it gets even worse. So now we have this rally, and people are saying this was racist. This was similar to the Nazis in 1939. And people are saying, no, that's not true, blah, blah, blah. Guess what? Here's Stern Magazine out of Germany. Stern Magazine out of Germany dropped their new cover, dropped their new issue this week. Guess who's on the cover? Guess who's on the cover? Shine Kampf. Donald Trump in all of his dictatorship. And look, for those who think it's in your head thinking this, while you have Germany and
sit down.
This is Germany. This is a German magazine. So vote. All I got to say is vote. And then also Joe Rogan. He's another guy. You know, Joe Rogan pisses me off sometimes. Joe Rogan had Trump on his podcast. And if you guys have been out here seeing a lot of people talking about YouTube this and YouTube that, and YouTube censored Joe Rogan's interview with YouTube and blah, blah. No, he didn't. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Stop it. Stop.
Sit down.
Sit down. Sit down. Because Joe Rogan actually, he loosely let people know. Joe Rogan put a post out 3 days ago. And I'm calling bullshit on this because I'm a podcaster. And I've been podcasting for a long time. And I use Spotify to put my shows up. I use YouTube. Joe Rogan allowed everybody to spread the narrative that YouTube was censoring the interview with Donald Trump from his show. He let that all go on. Then 3 days ago, he decides to put out a post and says, there's no issue with YouTube censoring the Trump episode. It was just supposed to go live on both Spotify and YouTube at the same time, but there was a glitch in the Spotify upload system, so we delisted the YouTube link until it's fixed. It should be fine now. Bruh, I'm a podcaster. I oversee, at one time, 8 podcasts. I've taught guys and women how to go live on Spotify and using Restream and how the shows are uploaded to the system. And I'm calling bullshit on this one, Joe Rogan. Bullshit. He's saying that there was a glitch in the Spotify upload system. If both shows, now he says it's supposed to go live on Spotify and YouTube at the same time, it was a glitch in Spotify's upload system. Spotify doesn't broadcast live. It goes up after. So like when this show is complete, we link the show to Spotify and then the show goes up afterwards. Unless Joe Rogan thinks he's this special person and he gets Spotify. I don't know. Maybe he gets it live, but still, I'm calling bullshit on it. I'm calling bullshit on it. So Joe Rogan puts this out there. He blames Spotify and says it was a Spotify issue. It wasn't YouTube censoring. But here's the thing. Joe Rogan didn't go on his podcast and tell people this. No. He decides that I'm going to put the podcast episode on Twitter, and then him and Elon Musk going to push everybody to Twitter. You see what's going on here? You see what's going on, right? We ain't stupid, bro. Y'all in cahoots. Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, President Trump, you're all in cahoots. You don't like YouTube, so you're going to create this narrative and allow this narrative to be spread that YouTube was censoring the show, the interview. And then you're going to post the show on X. And you guys know how many views the show got when they announced it was on X? To help Elon Musk boost a company that's dying? Don't fall for the okie doke. Don't fall for the Jedi mind tricks. Don't fall for this stuff, people. It's deeper than this. Pay attention. They think everybody's stupid, bro. We're not stupid. Some of us are smarter than that. Some of us are smarter than that.
Sit down.
Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Joe Rogan, come on now. I have more respect for you. Stop it. 8:30. Time to get out of here. Went a little bit over, but I had a good guest with Barbara Schwartz. Good stuff. Let me see what else we got in here. I think that's it. Yep, that's it. Let's get into my outro banners. Thank you for everybody in the chat. Thank you for tuning in the show. Travis Proddington, Oscar Mike Radio. Thursday nights, Hellfish Haven. Wednesdays, I think Hellfish Haven is on. Travis, if you're still in the chat, drop it in there. Dennis Maurice, don't look up. Dennis Maurice is in the chat. What's going on? Thank you for tuning in to the show. Felicia's still in the chat. everybody that's watching the show. Oh man, scary movie night. I'm not even paying attention. I'm looking at all the chat. Hide and Seek from the Police, October 31st. That's coming up at Moreland Community Center. Comedy fundraiser coming up at the Elks Children Christmas Party Friday, November 1st at the Elks Lodge 1011 in North Attleboro, 52 Bullfinch Street. Screams of Horror is still going on at Platinum City Gaming. Doors open from 7 to 1. Please check that out. And then Mushroom Masterpieces, Paint and Sip with a Hemp Twist. Guided Paint Night, Help Wellness, Mushroom Workshop. Damn. Getting twisted up in that event. Hemp and mushrooms? Damn. What kind of painting? Slaying the Terminology at the Jewel. Free show. Manchester, New Hampshire, November 2nd. Culture Corner presents their event. That's coming up November 8th. Shy Elemental. Guy who watched the show. Please make sure to support him. Also, he was in the chat. Music Man was in the chat. David John Kendrick, Music Man. Fall River, November 8th. And then Maddie C, November 10th. The BA half. Support those who support you. Matt Cameron. And then it's on November 30th, the 38th Annual Brockton Holiday Parade. I talked about it being saved. Hosted by Mayor Robert Sullivan. November 30th, Saturday morning. Also, December 13th, the Ugly Sweater Party put on by IGY6 and Deaf Purpose Freedom. Free entry with donation. And then our guest, Barbara, was on the show, Barbara Schwartz. Free Warrior Yoga for veterans and first responders. Monday, 6:30 p.m. Pop-up on October 28th. And then the series begins. She's actually still in the chat. Monkey Wrench Wellness. And then Ride the Bat Bus is free until December 31st of this year. And then Remy TV Influence Awards takes place next year, April 2025. Yana Marie is nominated for Best Female Hip Hop. And then thanks again for everybody supporting the show. I do have shirts. Shirts are going out to people who want one. I'm not, in the thing with shirts, people, I'm not charging for the shirts because right now I'm utilizing Cricut. And I've never used Cricut before. I got a heat press, got a thing to cut it out, Cricut Express thing there, to Explore, to cut the t-shirt things out. So I'm just waiting, just messing around. Mine and Bella's. I have a shirt here, I think, for Bella, but I'm not sure if it's gonna fit. I gotta take a picture and get it for you, Felicia. The shirts, you gave me the sizes. I gotta see what color t-shirts you guys want. I have a little Chinese spot on the south side of Brockton, the 99-cent country store it's called, and I go in there and it's like hit or miss. They have t-shirts, they have sweatsuits, so I'm trying to grab some sweatsuits for when they come in so I can press those up and get those out. But yeah, it's coming. All that stuff is coming. But again, thank you for everybody for tuning in the show. Next week is election week. Oh man, if there's any first Tuesday you want to tune in and watch, it's next Tuesday. First Tuesday, Election Tuesday. My guys, Ken Diesel, Rob Resnick, are going to be on the show. Please, please, please. Here's the thing, too, before we get out of here. Vote. Vote, 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 vote. And here's the thing. If you're a Trump guy, go ahead, vote. Go ahead, vote. Vote. I have a good friend that I grew up with. He's not voting. And I know some of y'all probably saw the back and forth on my Facebook media, but I'm just putting it right out there in the open. Vote. I have more respect for someone who goes and votes regardless of who they vote for. If you voted for Trump, I'll go back and forth. I'll debate with you all day. I'll debate with you and I'll have a ton of respect for you. But right now, where stakes are so high in this country, and yes, I've said it on this show, Democrats and Republicans don't give a F about any of us. They're all elitists at the end of the day. They don't care about us. All they care about is how they make their money. At the end of the day, the rich stay rich, The poor stay poor, and the middle class continues to carry every effing body on their backs, regardless of who is the president. It's just how they get the money from us. But at the end of the day, no matter who's in office, Republican or Democrat as president, like I said before, and you can keep repeating this, the rich stay rich, the poor stay poor, and the middle class carries everybody on their effing backs. It's been that way forever, and it's never gonna change. But the other thing is we need to have the House and Senate in balance with the president. Since Obama, we haven't had the House and Senate in balance. So we go through this whole thing. Yeah, Obama did 2 terms, but his first term, he got run over. Why? Because he was a Democratic president with a Republican House and Senate, and nothing got done his first year. Then he gained some seats in his second term, and then he was able to break the filibuster, and he overwrote a lot of shit in his second term. Then Trump gets in, and it was the same thing. Trump gets in, unfortunately, COVID and all this other stuff, but we had a Democratic-controlled House. We had a speaker in Nancy Pelosi. So again, we got hurt. Then Biden gets in. Democratic president, but guess what? We have a Republican. You see what I'm saying? We need to have that balance. So this is why you need to vote. You need to vote to get those crucial seats. Not only do you have to get your president in, you've got to get your Congress and Senate on the same side. So people can't use things as a narrative like the Republican MAGA group is doing. There was a bipartisan immigration bill sitting there for months. But Trump and the MAGA people, they needed a platform to run this whole campaign on, which was immigration, and they made sure that immigration bill never went through. Because we know what the problem with immigration is. The problem with immigration is that the system is antiquated, understaffed, and underpaid. And nothing's ever going to get done with the immigration system until they can speed up the process for people to become naturalized citizens of this country, so they're not using our resources or other ways. And let's stop the narrative of only blaming immigrants of color for coming in this country, because we have Russian, Polish, Ukraine. We have immigrants of whiteface coming into this country through Canada, through other places. But we're not making that big deal about them. So I'm so angry when they bring up this whole thing about Mexicans, Haitians, and all these people of color coming across the borders. But yet they're not talking about all these other people coming across the border. You see what I'm saying? So if we're gonna call it out, call it all out, and let's speed up this process. Let's speed up this process, because that's the problem, and it's been a problem. They've known this has been a problem. They've known it. So again, vote, vote, vote. I don't care who you vote for, as long as you vote. I love it that you voted. But when you say, I'm not voting this election because I don't care for either one of them, guess what? That's a coward's way out. That's a coward's way out by saying you're not voting. You need to vote, because people died for their right to vote. Not just black people. Not just black people died for their right to vote. Women was one of the last people to get the right to vote also. So vote. Vote, 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 vote. Because as easy as you think you can vote, it can be taken away. So vote. Don't sit here and talk about, I'm not voting because I could care about either one of them. No, vote. Stop all this bullshit. Vote. That's a coward's way out. It's a coward's way out. Vote. Vote. You should know who to vote for by now. You should know who to vote for by now. Stop it. Stop it. All right? It's your boy Sinister One. We're getting ready to get out of here. It's the booth. I'll see you next week. Thank you, everybody, for coming on the show, hanging out with us. And then at 9:30, Turnbuckles and Spilt Liquor podcast with me and host Lito, talking about the upcoming Crown Jewel. It's your boy Sinister One. We're out of here. SpongeBob, do me a favor. Take us home.
Next Tuesday. Thank you for listening to The Booth on Hoobazoo and HatcherRadio.com. Please follow the Facebook page and subscribe to the podcast at Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. The Booth is a Sinister One production, hosted by Sinister One.
I've got to start hanging out with friends that are a little more intelligent and understand politics and stuff. It's just that I'm up on this level up here, and all my friends are down here. Me, nah. You guys, nah. Maybe a little more down in here. Screw you guys, I'm going home.
I smoke, I drink, I do my thing. These bitches hating, so you know I got to make it plain. Don't do cocaine, but your chick, my main. We stick together, true forever, yeah, you know we bang. I miss those days, which was easy. If only I made it, keep this shit on repeat. Now that I done upgraded, I've been upstate, and y'all think I'm playing. And I got a hit now for these weak ass hoes who think I ain't slaying. Try me, and I'll probably end up laughing, cause I never back down. I'm that chick with a clean ass whip, I don't need that shit, I got my own now. I get hurt, I get tired of fussing, fighting, guess I gotta crack down. Don't mess with me, cause on everything, I'ma have to bring the whole city out.
WHOOBAZOO, that's Whoobazoo.com.
Enter website, enter website, enter website, enter website.